Test, test. Testing, testing. Okay, hello and welcome all to the Sim Racing Club Thursday Night Championship here at Spa-Francorchamps. We are just starting amateur qualifying. It will be a 20-minute qualifying session, and then we'll be out with the pros after that. So we are on board with the 211 of Burton in the McLaren. And it's going to be, as per usual, a 1 hour long race after this qualifying session. It's a Saturday into Sunday night race, so obviously we'll see some difference in weather conditions potentially. And obviously we're starting an hour back, so the qualifying is a little bit later on in the day. Track temperatures are nice and low, around 13 degrees. We'll expect probably something similar for the race itself. So the cars are going to have quite a lot of pace here today. As we head down towards Pujon Corner, we're just going to grab ourselves a slightly better camera angle there and talk you through a little bit more of the field here in amateur. So, I'm just going to switch over after last time out in round 7 at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which had a very high kind of attrition rate, not a huge starting grid, and then quite a lot of drivers dropped out over the course of the race. Of course, always a challenging race to compete at the Nordschleife. So we're going to take a look at the AM results first, and we're just going to jump over to our winner from last time out, if I can find them. There we go. So it was the 177 of Donkin. We talked about this car, I think, last time I was commentating for the Sim Racing Club, back at round 3. The dark blue Mustang, very strong car, of course, in a straight line, and of course a lot of long straights here at Spa. This is one of those tracks that you need really good balance of overall aerodynamic efficiency. You're going to have to be quick through the long straights of Sector 1 and the long back straight through Sector 3 of Blanchimont, but the whole middle part of the lap is all about downforce and getting maximum grip. You start at the top of the hill, and any momentum that you can carry through the top of the hill down back towards Stavelot is always going to help you out. So having a good Sector 2 is crucial. You can lose literally seconds just by having a bad Lecoum, because it propagates all the way down to the end of the sector. But yeah, it's the 177 is in second place so far, but we'll have a look at our pulses so far. Is Hay in the 21. 218.4, so a little bit of pace to be found potentially here in qualifying early on. Obviously we'll see a little bit more pace from the pro drivers coming up in a couple of laps, but obviously not too much time to get a lap on the board, so drivers are probably also taking a little bit of care to get that banker lap in early. Make sure that there aren't any invalidations, let's say. There's a very easy lap to invalidate on. You've got obviously a Rouge and Radion, and if you get the wrath of the stewards through there, but also Stavelot 2 is quite an easy corner to run wide on the exit, and the same with Pujon. You can run a little bit wide through the first part, get up onto the curb and invalidate the lap there. So this is a difficult track, but a track that most of these drivers will know very well. Tidman now has taken over the pole position with a 218.1 in the 996. Tidman, who didn't take part last time out. But yeah, it was Donkin and Harris last time who are our winning combination. There was a little bit of a gap between them with 26 seconds. So we're gonna... Oh, sorry, it was Harris last time out. Apologies. So Harris in the 401, who was second last time out, looking good again, 5th place so far, a couple of seconds off the overall qualifying time so far, so potentially just a very safe bank lap at a 220.2. So let's see if there's a slight improvement here from our second place driver last time out. And there is, about half a second, so still in the 219s, but up to 6th place following the improvement from McEnemy, who in the 46 car came 4th last time out, 3 minutes off our race leader, so probably did have a bit of a challenging race at the Nordschleife, hoping probably to do a bit better tonight in terms of gap to the leader. As they get a big wobble over the top of the... and they are going to back out of that. I'm just going to try and find Gabino in the 10th position, also in a Ferrari. There's quite a few Ferraris in the AM class again. Quite interesting to see. Kind of obviously a very comfortable car to drive when it first was released into the series. A lot of people were using this car. Very easy, predictable car to get good lap times out of. But not always the absolute quickest. Obviously, we see a lot of very fast McLarens, and obviously we've got a quick BMW here at the front as well, down into those 217s now, so the lap times are starting to stretch out. The BMW is a car with a lot of grunt, but it does use quite a lot of fuel, so it's something to be wary of, just how much fuel this car can do. So we're going to jump over to the overall standings now in the AMT class, and it is Gabino who is leading the AM class at the moment in terms of the overall standings, followed by Harris, and then Michael Rushton, who we haven't talked about an awful lot yet so far. Let's just find Rushton on the standings, and embarrassingly I just cannot see it right now. That's because he hasn't set a lap time yet in the number 95. I don't know if he's serving a qualifying ban or something, but no lap time for Rushton in the 95. But they are 3rd in the standings so far. Same with Duffy, who is 4th so far in the number 44. I think they are just going out now to finish their lap. I believe the rule is if you've started your lap, you may complete it, but you cannot complete another lap after the 10 minutes has ticked over, and as all the pro cars start to come out onto the grid. Let's just stay on board with Duffy now. Can they get themselves up? Beautifully smooth line there in the McLaren 720S Evo. I'm going to run this lap on board with Duffy just to see if he gets himself up the order. And then we'll jump back to our provisional pole sitter. Obviously we can see Donkin and Harris have pitted. So the same for Gabino. This is the lap I'm interested in. And Duffy does put themselves up to 3rd position. A big jump up. Tidman though, can they improve further? They can with a 2:17.3. An absolutely fantastic time there from the BMW. As we start to see the pro cars coming out on the grid. So it is Tidman taking the green for the AMs. Hay in 2nd, Duffy in 3rd, Donkin in 4th, and Harris in 5th. Sir Fontaine in 6th, Gabino in 7th, McNamee in 8th, Bowler in 7th, 9th, sorry, in the 7 car, Samano in 10th, 11th is Thomas, Burton in 12th, Radband in 13th, Gitos in 4 in 14th, Freeberry in 15th, and then we have Rushton, Bleach, Lane, Snye, rounding out the order so far. No lap time set. So we're just waiting for the Pro Class cars to come round on their first lap. So let's jump round to our to our Pro Class cars. And we're going to jump back with Robert. We did see a small incident there, I think, for the 76. Can we grab that quickly? Ah, quickly jumps back. But Roberts, we're going to jump on board with first in the 94 McLaren. This was our winner last time out. So we jump back quickly just to our results page for the pros. So Roberts took a narrow victory of 4 seconds in the McLaren last time out at the Nordschleife. We had a few more finishes, well, a few more starters in the Pro Class, but still quite a significant number of did not finish results, and quite a few drivers, a couple of drivers a couple of laps back after some damage. Roberts did take the overall win ahead of Castelli. Castelli is a driver we talked about a little bit last time that we were on air. Had a big incident at Alton Park, and I believe is not driving this evening. So no chance of trying to get one better this week. So if we jump over quickly to the main standings themselves for the pros. It is Ellis followed by Garrett, Palmer, Roberts, Rogers and Hettemer in the top 6. So we'll be talking about those drivers quite a bit, and we're going to go down to the number 69 Lamborghini, a car which we saw last time we were on air at Alton Park, having an unfortunate spin in the back of shot at the final corner. So just preparing a lap here, the number 69 car. Looks definitely like that previous lap wasn't going to be one. So let's see what our championship leader can do as we ride on board out of the source. Up towards the ferocious Eau Rouge corner. Over the brow, through Radio. Beautiful run there. 250 miles an hour. So down into the curve, down to second gear, run it over that curve, hook it over the second curve. Now through Malmedy, up to third gear, clip the inside curve, run hard over the exit curve, down towards Bruxelles or Rivage. Brake just as you hit that outside curb. Second gear in the Lamborghini, going to work on the V10's torque, get on the power nicely. A little bit of a kick there as we head through No Name or X corner, wide of the mark through there, so it's going to cost a little bit of time. Didn't manage to hook it in, a little bit late on that gear change down as we head towards Pouhon. Brake as you see the marker on the right hand side. Third gear, fourth snatch on the exit of the first part, flat out through the second part of the left-hander as we head down towards the pit path. Down to second gear, taking a late apex through there to set themselves up for the second part, but a big snap of oversteer, completely missing the apex. Up to third gear as we head down towards Stavolo 1. Third gear on the exit again, using the torque. Wide run into Stavolo 2, trying to keep that flat. Just clips out and invalidates that lap. So it's going to have to be another lap being set. Let's see who we've got on board. So 76 and quickly is off. Let's run on board with Roberts in the 94. So 2 seconds up with our current best, but obviously this lap I'm not sure when our last lap counted. Down in 29th at the moment. So heading towards Blanchimont as we head down towards the bus stop, braking just after that white line, down to first gear. Beautiful trail break through there, clip the inside curve, now floor it on the exit. What's this lap time going to be? It's a 2:16.9 to take provisional pole position. We head over to back towards La Source. Just tuck it in. TC now off. Gonna run up through Eau Rouge. they're set up nicely. And we're going to jump back. Grab on board with 16. Let's find our apologies. Let's jump back if we can. So, Ozier also in the McLaren. The McLaren is definitively going to be one of the strongest cars possible here. It's got an amazing balance of high speed and high aero. And so it's a very easy car to get into the into where you want to be with respect to setup. Just taking a look to see where Ozier is in the standings. So currently in 18th. We're just going to check if Ozier has actually run any rounds yet so far. Second place a couple of rounds ago, but that's the only round they've done so far. Very highly rated driver, so expecting probably very strong results here tonight. Apologies, we've just accidentally lost the feed there, but we're back again. So we head down towards Thompson. And we've got Griffith also in. So we've seen a couple of different cars. We've got Alice there. Hey, Phantoms. Tipman's pole lap in Am has got them still in 6th place, which is really rather impressive, actually. Tonier in the number 14. That's the name I saw earlier, I believe, in the standings. Yep, so another driver who hasn't done too many laps, too many races so far. Okay, good to know. Good to know. No qualifying for the number 95. The Aston is a tricky car to drive here. Have to rely quite heavily on its incredible brakes. And pretty good straight line speed. Bit of a barge through the middle sector though, as we're actually going to stay on board with our championship leader at the moment. So far has done a 17-1. Much better line this time through the Piff Paff. Yep, I could understand that. The Aston is a bit of a interesting car, not one that particularly Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's great always to see the AM drivers jumping into the stream to watch the pros, and getting some of their opinions with respect to how the qualifying session went. So I do. Everyone who may not have been racing but watching me on playback, go have a check in to see what the AMs were saying. Interested to see what maybe some of the other drivers. And Ellis does take pole. We were talking about other things, and we have a new pole sitter, a 2:16.5. Can we see a response from Ozier in the McLaren? Or will it be a Lamborghini taking a surprise pole position? Well, you can only race what's in front of you, Meep. You can only race what's there. And Ozier does take it back with a 2:16.3, so it looks like a very strong showing from our lead pair. The 2:16s is pretty impressive pace. Oh dear. So, there we go. We have Ozier, Ellis and Roberts all in the 2:16s. And actually all of our top four in the 2:16. We didn't quite catch Diamond. But Diamond also dropping into those 2:16s for the absolute front of the grid. So we're just going to take a note of this. take a quick break. Slowest Mustang. Nothing wrong with being the slowest Mustang. Often, if anyone wasn't aware, often a Honda driver here, and often the slowest Honda, but that's also because I was the only one quite often. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see how qualifying pace converts into sprint race pace. This is an endurance race, but with the pit window and the requirement to take tyres, it does effectively break it down into two 30-minute or near 30-minute sprint races. We may see someone trying something a little bit different, which is always good fun to see, with respect to maybe taking a longer fuel load for that first stint when everyone's bunched up, or you could see some of the leaders possibly taking a slightly lighter fuel load to try and break away early. The slipstream here is pretty powerful. Obviously we've got the long first sector, the long straights in the second sector, and even you can use the slipstream a little bit to affect even in the middle sector. If you're really close to someone, it can help keep you tucked up quite nicely, but you do have to worry about a little bit of the dirty air. So, our starting grid, we'll start with the McLaren on pole, the Lamborghini in second of our championship leader Ellis. We have Roberts in third, Diamond in fourth, and Thompson in fifth for the pros. For the AM class, we have Tidman on pole in the 996 BMW. We have Hay in the 21 McLaren, the 44 McLaren of Duffy, followed by Donkin, and then Burton in the 211. I'd also just like to raise that the Lexus is a legitimate 10th, which is incredibly impressive considering that car is almost a decade old. So always good to see the old cars here, as well as the most up-to-date machinery. And we're going to take a quick 2-minute break just before the start of the formation lap.
concept of a car, but it's a very cool car to drive. You have to work at it, and it's fun, and it's quite a challenge. And I like it. I think it suits my driving style, so it's nice. Everything was new, and in the beginning it was quite a lot to learn. And now since the second half, it's going really well. I'm just starting to feel at home, and I think it's really cool. So I'm enjoying it.
Let's see how it goes. Thank you.
This looks like they got a tank snapper, yeah. But whether that was caused by something that we can't see, but once he got the tank snapper, he was nothing more than a passenger, and hopefully with the impact and rearward impact, it was. Now, I mean, look, an impact like that is, you're not going to just jump out of the car and say happy days. You know, your body has gone through a trauma, so it knocks the thing down. That's the thing that really is. You know, suddenly you're sitting there, you haven't got the ability to inhale.
Team have spoken to Camry on the radio, we understand. There is
30 seconds.
So, welcome back all. As we have 30 seconds till the starters marks. I think it's going to be interesting. Always double file heading down towards Eau Rouge. Lot of chance for damage, lot of chance for incidents to happen. Drivers going to have their heads on swivels as the engines are firing into life. We'll be heading away very shortly.
What about the night qualifying? Are you worried about that?
There we go. Moving away now, as we said before, we've got the McLaren of Ozia. Somewhere is Ellis. I'm not quite sure where Ellis has got to. Hoping Ellis is going to be pulling away. No, this is going to be a challenge for our championship leader. Jumping to the back of the grid. Now, what is going on here? Why is the 69 all the way at the back? Down with the number 20. So, that is going to be interesting. The car that was second on the grid, starting all the way at the back, potentially. Not sure if there was a challenge of some sort with getting that car off the grid. As we have another car, the 54, is in pit lane, so didn't get going at all. Obviously an issue there for the Lamborghini. We've just got another Lamborghini in the field compared to the last time that we were covering the series. Obviously only, I believe, the one Porsche. So hopefully that will do quite well as well. Always good to see different cars, not just the same 3 or 4 kind of most popular makes. But we will now have McLaren's 1 and 2, unless we start seeing the number 69 blasting through the field. Diamond in the 888 car, which looks very similar to the 996. That's going to get confusing. But yeah, the 888 of Diamond in P3. Then we've got Thompson in P4 in the number 58. White, green, and red. As the BMW now has disappeared. Lost another car from the front of the grid. That's also challenging, so I don't know if there's been a problem there for the 888 888 car. We've got Tournier in 6th. Obviously Tibman we've talked about on pole for the AMS. Hedema in the 19. Number 1 is Ola, moved up 2 positions by not having any issues. I'm just going to check back again. So yeah, we've lost the 888. I'm going to just check to see if there's been a confirmed issue there for the 888 car. Hopefully not. Hopefully that's just an issue on my side. So we are losing a couple of... Oh, it looks like everyone has lost connection, because even I have. We're going to pause the stream here. We'll be back shortly once we've got technical issues back under control, and we'll be back shortly. So we're back now. Apologies for the interruption in the coverage. We have lost quite a few cars, so and as part of that, I now can't get back to the front of the field for camera pictures, and it does look like everyone's dropped out again. So this is looking challenging. We're just going to see if the race director pulls. Yeah, it's looking like we are having some issues here with the server, so we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, hopefully everything will be sorted. Thank you much for your patience, and we'll be back shortly. Just so everyone is waiting for the stream to come back on, just for everyone's awareness, there will be a manual red flag and reset of the server. Any drivers watching, there will be a manual red flag and reset. So we'll be back shortly. Obviously, we'll have to do a manual reordering the grid. Any drivers, please make sure you go and check the Discord server for information on when the server is going to be getting back up and running. Like I said, the broadcast will take a short break whilst that is all getting sorted, but hopefully we'll be back shortly to be able to get the 1 hour race started, and obviously see who can take the victory in both our classes and the overall. Catch you all shortly. Welcome back all! We are back at Spa with minutes to go before the start of the race. Some frantic resetting of the grid to make sure that everyone's back in the positions they should be has put us in this position. We're expecting there shouldn't be any changes in terms of the weather generation or anything like that. So we should get the exact same race as what we were planning. But you never know what may be happening 30 minutes from now. The grid should be back to how it should have been from the start, so we should have the same pole sitters and front row. So just as a reminder, the Pro top 3 will be Ozier, Ellis and Roberts. The Am top 3 will be Tidman, Hay and Duffy. Let's just find ourselves as the 888. That's great. There's our pole sitter in the 117 McLaren. As I said, we'll be back very shortly with racing. So, here we are. A little bit sunnier than last time we loaded into the race. May prove a little bit more challenging to manage those tyres if the track surface gets a little bit warmer. Obviously, we would expect the track to start to get colder over the course of the hour as we get back down into the kind of low sunset hours. But we have got 4 minutes till the start of the race. Very little we can really do at the moment in terms of views, so I do apologise for that. But we should be expecting a few fireworks tonight, I think. Obviously, drivers have had to wait a little bit longer before being able to get started, so I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how they handle the second kind of a restart and a second crack at the it. I think there could be potential for incidents, even though most of the drivers have had a trial run at this. Obviously, we spoke about the run down to Eau Rouge being too wide on the first lap. Always likely to have some incidents there. But also, the first time into Les Combes, obviously you've got the long straight at the top of the hill. It's going to probably be 2 wide, maybe 3 wide. And everyone's got to get themselves all sorted out into Les Combes, make sure there's no incidents, because it's very easy to have to take to that runoff with a little bit of damage. With the speed bumps that are there, you can end up in the wall quite easily. Safely rejoining on the entry to Malmedy is tricky, so drivers are going to have to be patient if they get bumped out. But we will see how people get on. I think there's a good chance of a slightly strategic race here at Spa. You can make an offset strategy work here. I think the challenge is going to be very much keeping those tyres underneath you if you are going longer, making sure that you stay in that slipstream as much as possible, and then push when your car is light, and make sure you've got some tyres still left when you get to that point. We'll quickly jump to the timetables while we're here. Obviously there's quite a bit of variance in ballast for the cars. The Mustang being the car with pretty much the most ballast, and the Lexus having most of the weight taken out of it, being that it is an older car. But it does sound great. We will try and take a little bit of time to have a listen to the Mustang. Not the Mustang, sorry, the Lexus, because it does sound great, and it's always great to celebrate these older cars. But I do hope that people are going to be joining back into the stream. Interested to hear what driver predictions, audience predictions are going into this race. So please do leave your comments on what you think is going to happen in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes time. Who do we think may have a good start? Who do we think may end up having an incident? And who do we think we can fight back from that? Be interested to hear what people's top 3 predictions are as well. So yeah, please get commenting, and we'll see if anyone's predictions do come true. I think this could be a bit of a classic McLaren scrap at the front. I think Ellis will be strong, but we have seen that there's an error in the Lamborghini driver if they're kind of left a little bit by themselves. But obviously they are leader in the championship so far. They're going to be the most cautious of all of our drivers because they've got the most to lose. Roberts isn't too far back in the championship, but Ozier is nowhere after only taking part in 1 round, so they've got nothing to lose here, and they're going to probably be the driver pushing forward as much as possible to take a potentially dominant victory. In the AM class, obviously Tidman in the 996 BMW got a couple of the pro cars in between themselves and the rest of the AM field, and they might be able to use those effectively as rear gunners. Whilst everyone is in the same race, you're also not in the same race, as the cars get away for the 2nd time tonight. Hopefully this time runs a little bit smoother than the first one. Of course, the nicety of this is we get a little bit sunnier weather this time, and so we get to see the cars in all their glory. And this time we do see a successful getaway, I think, for all the drivers. We'll just drop down and see if anyone has dropped to the back of the field. No, I think everyone is getting away okay. Don't see any particularly out of place cars. That is an incredibly pink Mustang. I forget every time how pink that car's going to be. So we can see quite a lot of weaving and drivers taking time to warm up their tyres, which obviously is perfectly illegal, but you just got to be careful whilst you're doing it. I will admit, that very dark blue Mustang does look mean. Obviously a very different body shape to a lot of these other cars. It does look like a bit of a brick in comparison, but very fast car. Duffy there in the black and blue McLaren. The 3rd spot. In the 2nd spot we have Hay in the black, white and red. It's a bit like Gerhard Berger's helmet design from the McLaren era. And we have the opposite of the number 19 with the black, red and white. We've got Ola in the forced livery of the Lexus, which is a shame. It is a fabulous looking car, the Lexus, and it is a shame that there aren't the availability to put custom liveries on it. I think that is, so having the number 1 there. Then we've got Tidman, Tony Air in the Sky sponsored number 14, the 399 of Griffith, 58 Thompson Diamond in the 888, Roberts, as we said, in the number 94, 69 is Ellis, and Ozier in the 116. So we saw 216s from the pros in qualifying. What sort of pace are we going to see with fuel in the cars? And obviously 217s from the amateur class drivers to get pole. We'll be going double file soon as we get onto the back stretch towards Blanchimont, and then it's going to be the charge down the hill. We do have 1 car in the pits, which is the number 54 of Lane again. So again, that Lamborghini unable to get going. We'll see if there's a particular reason for that, potentially in the post-race. But for now, we are going to Lane has got an enforced pit lane start. That's why they haven't been able to get started. So you learn something every time that you actually check the rules. Oh, have we got problems again for the number 6? No, we're okay. A little bit of a worry, but 69 has got to get charging back up through the field to make sure they get back into position. Just about managing to get there. Of course, if you're too far out of position, you will get a penalty. But here we go. We're lining up in double file. Get ourselves back to the right sort of speed. As the sun blazes down onto the cars, track temperature just dropping into the 15s now, so plenty of grip should be out there for the drivers. Optimum track conditions, not too windy, and cars should be fairly balanced as we head down towards the hill. We're going to go on board with our pole sitter. Let's get ready then as we head down towards the start line. Who's going to get the jump? And they're away. Here we go. It is a great start from Ozier. Ellison second. A battle here between... Already we're seeing cars going pretty elbows out. We're just trying to check, and we do have cars round. We will check on who they are in a minute, but we're going to jump back up as we see a big crash there for the green and yellow McLaren. There's a battle up towards the lead there between Ellis and Ozier. And Ellis has to jump a little bit across the ground as we see chaos on the timing screen as we haven't quite got through all the way yet with respect to the timing board. As it is side-by-side action on the grass here between Ozier and Ellis. There is absolute carnage behind, which we will jump back to at some point, just to see who was involved, but we're sticking on board now with our leaders. It seems to have settled down a little bit. We're going to jump back just to see how things are heading in the AM class. And who were our drivers? So the Porsche, number 95, the number 84. Oh, a very, very broken pink Mustang. Samano also caught up in that. Bowler's got damage. Lane obviously had the pit lane start, so it may actually be okay. It was Burton who was the McLaren spinning into the wall. We're trying to see who the other McLaren is that's in the pits there. Another damaged Mustang there, who is trying to get back. I think that's an okay McLaren ahead, but we're going to jump back up to the front. We said there might be carnage, big field, and unfortunately some drivers having pickles straight away. Oh, as we potentially see some touching a little bit further back. Didn't quite catch that in the background. So, Ellis right up the back of the McLaren. Can he get the run up towards Lacombe? He's got to be careful here not to kind of upset the car and not get a penalty or a warning. The black and gold Lamborghini now tucked into the slipstream. A better run from Ozier though over the top of the hill. And I think he's probably going to be safe. Potentially that McLaren running a little bit less downforce actually. And definitely Roberts behind closed up a long way. It did look like a big set of issues further back, and I can understand there'll be some frustrations between drivers.
Pit window is opening.
But the pit window is now open, so there may be a chance for people to be able to save their race a little bit. Depends exactly on how the pit window timing works. Well, we have got quite a few cars in the pits. Looks like the contact at the start was between 44 and the 211, and that's where the incident started, but obviously we don't know for certain. See a good battle here between Hetema and Tournier. Just keeping an eye on our front battle, of course, as well. But Duffy is now the leading car in... Oh, hello! What happened to Tidman? He slipped back. He's got some damage on that car. So we've missed the loss of the lead battle there. Definitely some scrapes down the side of that the 996 car. And I wonder if he's picked up significant damage. Hay there in the 21. Does still seem to be holding that the BMW at bay. As a send there from Tidman down the inside, beautifully judged it looks like. Picks it up, oh, but a little bit of oversteer. That might have been the damage on the car, obviously not now perfectly balanced, and that allows Hay to be able to power back and is allowing quickly in the Pro class to have a chance to have a look back. As we're going to have a little look just to see if the gaps have stabilised at the front. They have indeed, so we're going to jump back on board with, oh, more chaos here. I think there was a touch there between Tidman and Hay potentially, because it looked like one of those two was wide on the exit. And I think that was the 21 having to get out of the throttle, and that has allowed Tidman through. And Duffy also, I think, oh no, apologies. Duffy moving ahead of the lapped Mustang of Griffith. Now ahead of Woodley and Hay. Harris also ahead of the 740 of Snee. So far Roberts with the fastest lap, and we're just going to go on board with the Lexus, which is up to P6 at the moment. Obviously a fair way back from the leading 5. We've got everyone's still just about managing to keep in touch with each other. No one's pulled too far ahead yet, but Ozier is starting to stretch that gap a little bit out to 1 second. Right, you don't know who the fastest lap is, but we'll keep an eye on that. Looking like Diamond now closing in on Roberts. Good lap here from the BMW. Not close enough to do anything this time by. Thompson still staying close. We're going to jump back to our lead AM kind of fight. Obviously Duffy's a little bit further up the road, but these guys are having a good fight. It's Hetema who's holding up the 996, it's looking like now actually. As you see, there's a slow car of, I think, the 76. Yeah, it looks like the 76 has had a problem and is running slowly. Dropped a few positions back. We are going to jump on board with Diamond now, see if they've pushed forwards. No, they haven't been able to make any headway yet so far. So, back on board with our leader. Ozier looking fairly comfortable out front at the moment in the McLaren. We always knew the McLaren was going to be a strong car. And making a good start of this on lap 4. Here's now Tidman fighting with Hetema. It does look like there's damage on that McLaren, actually looking at that front bumper, so I wonder if they got caught up together, or if this was a kind of damage from that first lap. We didn't get a great look at some of the damage because we were keeping on board with the lead battle. Bit of track extension there from both of them. Definitely some sort of issues with downforce there for the McLaren, having to run all the way out wide. Can the BMW swoop all the way around the outside? It has the inside for the second part of the pit path. And that is the move done for the 996. Now can they chase down Duffy in the 44? Oh, but touches the gravel on the exit. That's going to cost them a little bit of pace. They're going to be wide there with the dirty tyres, and that's going to allow cars back through. Cars all over the track on the exit of Stabilo 2 there. Back on board with this battle. Closest battle we've got going on so far is this mid-pack battle. We've got Harris there down the inside of Hay. 227 of Austell also in that battle. So we just need the timing board to sort itself out a little bit, so we can see where the positions actually are. A little bit of a half look there, and actually that has not helped out Harris with Austell in the Pro class. Just looking to try and move themselves forward a little bit. Germany also pretty close to that battle as well. We have a check back to see some of how the drivers potentially who were caught up in the incidents have got on since recovering to the pits. So definitely damage still on the number 81. The Porsche of Kaitos is also still got damage. Bowler is down one, well, not actually down about half a lap. Quigley definitely has had damage, dropped like a stone through that pack. We are a lap down for Griffith. I think Lane is just the big gap is mostly due to their earlier issue with having to start from the pits. Donkin way back as well in the 177. We're going to jump forward and just see how the gaps are getting on up at the front. So still 1.2 seconds between our top two, with Roberts and Diamond fighting hard for that P3 spot. BMW does seem a little bit more comfortable through the sector 2, but doesn't quite have the punch to drag past the McLaren. So again, maybe that Roberts is running a slightly lower downforce setup, and that's how they're managing to keep away. Just starting to drop off the back of the LS now, 2.4 seconds adrift, so this is definitely starting to become a two-horse race at the front. Obviously our championship leader will want the win, but doesn't really need it. All their championship rivals are either not in the race, damaged, or behind, well, all of them are behind them. Ozier is not a championship threat, so they can kind of lead them to it if they want to. Ola in the Lexus, doing a good job so far, just keeping out of trouble. 28 in the McLaren, not really being able to make any inroads at this point. Duffy in 8th, obviously leading the AM class so far. Tippin currently 8 seconds further back, with obviously that damage on the front end of the BMW having slowed them down. And then we've got Hay in the number 21 car. Hedema, who I think these guys are teammates, but just in different classes. Then we've got Miguel, who started right at the back of the grid, remember, so managed to get through all the chaos. Oh, there's a car backwards. Who is that? That is the 996 of Tidman facing the wrong way. And I think there was another car involved there. That was our second place car in AM, now facing completely the wrong way, and dropped themselves out of contention probably for the podium. Obviously going to have more damage on that car. Obviously the pit window is open, so they can go and pit and maybe try and make something of having a fresh set of tyres and no damage, but definitely not what they wanted. Obviously their car looked pretty quick, took the pole, and has dropped a long way back in class. So now it is Hay and P9. I wonder if there was contact at all. We were just looking through some of the order, and we'll jump back to 740 in this of Snee. Oh, Miguel having a little half look there. They're not able to make any contact at this point. Oh, sorry, not making any contact at this point is the good thing. Not being able to make the move is the downside. Looking pretty close as we head up over Rouge and Radion, and actually being able to take the position away. I wonder if Hedemann's damage is more more challenging than we first thought. That is quite a significant crunch to the front end, and that is going to be costing them several Ks down the back straight, even in the McLaren, which is good over the top of the hill. Avenues. Looks like Thompson is now, well, was the closest of these three to each other. Dropped off a little bit in the middle sector where Diamond looks particularly strong, and has, as you can see, closed back up a little bit to Roberts through this sector. So I think I'm correct there. I think there's a little bit more downforce on that BMW, which gets it back into contention through the middle sector, but then drops off the back again. There's a little bit of a slide there from hitting the curb that could have had to been a little lift there. And that's going to cost them all the way down that back straight, looks like. Avenues, I just want to see where Hay is. No, Hay is still going. I just wanted to check that, obviously, while we're still waiting for the gaps. It's 10 seconds, so Duffy now has a fairly comfortable and commanding lead. We're just going to go check and see if the 996 pitted. It did not, so they are down in legitimate P20 now. Car looks like an absolute handful to drive. Real kind of unfortunate. Ooh, right into the gravel. Yeah, that car does need to come in now and probably get off those tyres. As we see Donkin now, having done their stops, they're the first driver to have finished their requirements. As we see. That is the 399 unlapping themselves on the 44. Nope, and the 44 jumping the track there. Just jumping back up towards the top of the field. It does look like I say, Ozzy is just starting to stretch their legs a little bit away from Ellis, but Ellis won't mind this too much. We'll jump back to the P3 battle. Again, very close between these three drivers. I do think it's just balance of performance at the moment with respect to downforce levels, which is going to be the deciding factor so far. He's managed to stay a little bit closer this time by, and obviously there is the back marker of Lane. It'll flash the lights, gets the back marker out of the way though. There's Ryan. Miss you too, buddy. Hope the new job's going well. So we have Diamond now closing up really close through the source, and this is going to really be the understanding, I think, as we head up towards Rouge Radion and Lacombe, is can they hold close enough to start probing and attacking more in a more kind of concrete way. We've seen this gap stay pretty similar throughout, and just ebb and flow through the different sectors, but they need to make a bit more of a concerted effort. I think they are quicker over the lap than Roberts, but they just can't find a way to make that attack. And again, it's half a second. It's really not a big gap at all. You know, you feel like just a strong sector through here will really help push that battle a little bit harder. Maybe start making Roberts think about, you know, their line, maybe having to throw some defensive shapes. But again, that BMW on the power always looks a bit squirmy, and we saw that there. Bit of understeer as well, potentially, through No Name. But is closer as we head through Pujon. This is the closest this battle's been for a while. Just trying to check to see if there's any in-class battles that are also going on. I don't think there's going to be a move here. Oh, but it is really close. I don't want to jump away and miss the move, because this is going to be for the overall podium in the race. You can run right up onto that kind of concrete, and this is the closest, 2/10. Can the slipstream allow the BMW to make a move? We are 20 minutes into the race, so it could be that there's a little bit of fuel load difference as well. We haven't really discussed fuel too much at the moment. There's been quite a lot of action going on, I'll be honest. But again, that punch from the BMW is not there in comparison to the McLaren. By the time we get down to the bus stop, they're just not range to make something happen. They need to force a defensive move from the McLaren, force them to outbrake themselves slightly, and then maybe try and punch their way past, maybe round the outside of the source or something, where they can build the momentum, hold off down towards the com, and then they've got sector 2 to pull away. That's what I would suggest at this point. Try and do something a little unorthodox and make the 94 look somewhere that they're not expecting, and then try and use your car's strength to get away. Thompson obviously still in the background here in P5, able and in a great position to pick up the pieces if anything does go wrong. But we're going to start dropping down and just having a little look at the rest of our drivers at the moment. So we're going to jump on board with Gabino and Radband. These guys are pretty close on track. Obviously there's a little bit of damage on Gabino's car, so I wonder if that's why Radband got ahead. And just being able to make that work. Nope, it is definitely looking like the Ferrari is going to be dropping away. So we will jump back down. Where's another tight gap that we've got at the moment? This isn't cross-class, so we will ignore that for now. Oh, sorry, in-class, cross-class. So we will jump on board with Hay, who is P2 in-class at the moment. Obviously a little bit off the back of Miguel in the number 20s, with the 20 followed by the 21 in 9th and 10th position. Overall gap to Duffy is looking about 9 seconds, so still in striking range if need be to the class leader. Looks like Duffy has been very happy to just sit behind the 399 ever since the unlapping and kind of save some fuel maybe. So far, looking like a strong performance from Duffy again. We saw this at Alton Park. Will Duffy make a mistake though this time? Potentially cost themselves the victory. They've got a nice big gap though, so they should be fairly comfortable. They've just got to keep it sensible and just work the strategy through. Back up the front, and we've still got Diamond and Roberts separated by less than half a second at the line. We get to the top of the straight, and that McLaren just runs away. I'm not quite sure why Diamond's choosing to be out of the toe so early. If I was them again, the 888, they should be sticking in that toe for longer. Show the defense. Oh, they've jumped the... they've had a problem there. Had to jump across the inside of the curb. And that's going to cost them a significant amount of time. Probably just missed their braking point slightly, or they snagged a brake on the way in and couldn't get the rotation required. That is a little bit unfortunate. Oh, and another kick of oversteer there. And that's what I mean, is I feel like that BMW is fast, but not particularly well balanced through overall the whole lap. It's very quick through the middle sector, but it's nervous. And that's why potentially Diamond isn't being able to make quite as much of an impression on Roberts as they should be able to, given the relative difference in pace. Thompson, though, looking very comfortable in the 58 car. Obviously, I believe 58 was Marco Simoncelli's number, and that livery is looking pretty similar to Simoncelli's final livery before his untimely passed away. So I think that might be a little bit of a conscious tribute there. And if that's so, that's pretty nice to see. Pretty cool to see, even almost 15 years on. Like Diamond there this time, not being able to make any inroads to the second half of that lap, and now it's looking like Thompson's got the chance. So will Thompson try something a little bit different? They look to the inside at the source now, this, and they do send it down the inside. Will they be able to get on the throttle well enough? And this is why I was saying I kind of prefer the outside move at the source, because you pick up the throttle and you gain the slingshot effect down here. Now they're side by side through Rouge and Radion. There's a little touch there, I think, between the two cars, and potentially contact with the 58. Did the 58 so? Yep, they managed to survive, but still. See, this is why I don't like that inside move at the source, because you leave yourself kind of vulnerable to the cutback. Thompson has managed to make it work, and amazingly manages to keep it out of the wall. And we have a new fourth place car. I was thinking Diamond was going to be pushing themselves forwards towards P3, and actually it's looking like maybe they've burnt out those tyres a little bit early, and they're now going to have to kind of get themselves back into this. Make sure that they don't end up in any sort of trouble. We then have Ola in the number 1 Lexus. Fabulous sounding car. And they're doing a great job tonight, just pounding around the laps, 15-20 seconds off the lead, but just making it work in that older car. We will just jump up to our race leader, who's just slowly pulled that gap out to about 5 seconds over the course of the first half of the race. We'll see if anyone starts to pit for their green flag stops. So far, very comfortable, easy race. Just pulling away, fastest lap, just pulling away from Ellis in second. As we said throughout, Ellis can probably get away with this and just doesn't need to be particularly worried. They've got the lead in the championship. The only car in front of them is a non-threat to the championship, and they can just keep not have to worry. Roberts in P3 has obviously gained a bit of a breather now with the battle behind, and we have Diamond into the pits. I said it looked like their tyres were burning, and so they've gone for the undercut. This is the longest, slowest pit lane on the calendar. You just trundle endlessly round until you get to your actual pit box. It's pretty painful to have to live through, and this is why you never want to have to take a drive through here at Spa. We've also got Duffy into the pits. So again, a lighter fuel load from Duffy, just under halfway through the distance of the race. And it is Tournay still in the 6th position behind the mighty Lexus, and Miguel quite a way back now in 8th. Obviously we're waiting for pit stops to all kind of settle, so we'll see where people's positions are after that. But for now at least, we've got pretty good result there for Miguel in the P7. We've got Hay in P8 and Snee up in P9 in the 740. Those are our first two takers from the front of the field. We've also seen McNemony in 22nd, having pitted early in the 46. Rushton in the 95, obviously a car that was very quick at Alton Park, but just not had the comfort level here. As we see a big kick of oversteer on those fresh tyres. Just not a balanced car. Looks like a little bit too stiff at the front and a little bit too stiff at the rear, maybe. Kaitos has fixed the damage on the Porsche, so we'll be going back up and going. Difficult car to master around this track. It definitely isn't going to be favoured with respect to the meta. As we see our race leader almost bang on the 30-minute mark, taking the fresh tyres and pitting. We've got Roberts in as well, Thompson now in, and the mighty Lexus moves itself up into P2.
You're halfway through. Keep pushing.
We are just over halfway through now. So this is where it gets interesting. Ellis now has clear track. They've got obviously a bit more fuel and have carried that throughout the first stint. That means they can run a little bit lighter with the fresh tyres through the second stint, and maybe they'll try and put a little bit of pressure onto Ozier. Let's just see if Ozier's pit stop goes smoothly. Admittedly not the most thrilling action, but it was interesting to see in my opinion. Just see if anyone makes a mistake with that stop. If we get down, that was a pretty smooth entry into the pits, so I don't think we'll be seeing any troubles there, but always worth checking to see if there was a fumble in the pit stop. Ellis really starting to push quite hard on those tyres as well. We see a lot of cars into the pits. We've got Hay, Hedema, Harris, Bradband, Postel and Quigley all in. Quigley going to be fixing that car up as we see Diamond. So as we said before, Diamond is the first of the leaders pushing hard on fresh tyres, so the gap that gives a really good understanding of how much time you lose. So Ellis is just coming through the second to last corner in towards the bus stop now, and Diamond is 2 corners ahead. You lose a huge amount of time pitting here at Spa. Being able to gain a pit stop back on someone in an endurance race is a massive advantage. Now obviously everyone has to pit once here, so that's the key. Everyone's on the same footing. The poor guys who got caught up in that early incident, that's why they're so far off the pace, because they had to pit off strategy to the pit window, so they had to pit a second time, and that's why they're all the way at the back. As we see a stop-go penalty for the 401, so that's their race absolutely hosed. I just saw that flash up before the message, and they are going to be kicking themselves after that mistake. They had a good position here in the P17, still with a few cars left to pit, and that's probably a top 15 result taken away now as we're on board with Ozier. So Diamond lost out quite significantly during the pit stop phase, so it could be that the overcut is the way to go. Obviously we've seen Diamond drop back a little bit, but dropped a long way back from Roberts, who he was not far behind. Thompson has comfortably cleared Diamond, dropped back a little bit from Roberts. Yeah, about a second drop back from Roberts over the course of this pit stop phase. The rest of the cars are now in, with Ellis now in the pit stops and 28 now taking the lead. So we're just going to keep an eye on where the 117 is going to be coming through. So they've just come through the start-finish straight now, and now we're going to see, does the overcut give you an advantage? So coming down, Are we seeing any movement yet from the 69? No, we are not. Just getting moving now, so they're actually a little bit more, it looks like, at danger of being attacked by Roberts. No, not quite. Slightly too far back, I think, to actually make something happen there, Roberts, but it was closer than I thought it would be. That gap was about 3 seconds, I think, before, and that's come down significantly. Of course, Ellis is going to be on the slightly under-prepared tyres. They've got to come up to pressure. The temperature should be pretty much there straight away, thanks to tyre blankets. Definitely. See Harris there serving their drive-through penalty. And it is Snee who's moved up into the top. So what has happened with Duffy? So Snee has pitted and seems miles ahead of the next. Oh no, Duffy is there. Okay, there we go. Things have sorted themselves out, because that was all very backwards for a moment. So Duffy is still the leader in AM. Then we have Snee 15 or so, about 10 seconds back. The gap to Ola has increased quite significantly for Duffy, actually. It's up to 20 seconds now, so definitely, you know, there is a divide in the AM and Pro class for a reason. Even though that we do see that the AM's able to push forward and do pretty well, it is still, as we see, our last car to pit is Tournier with 24 minutes left. They will obviously drop way behind the 117 and 69 as we go on board with this battle for, well, net second position. Thompson and Diamond are a couple of seconds apart, so we'll keep an eye on that gap as well. See if the BMW's tyres fade again. Obviously he was the first to pit onto those tyres, so he's going to have the worst tyres by the end. And the 14 has just left the pits, so they're going to drop to, I think, 7th or 8th, once we have shaken out all the movers, I think. Oh, let's just try and find them. That might actually be a little bit of an unfair position here. They're actually going to be a little bit ahead of that. Ola is in 7th, right behind Tournier, so Tournier has made that strategy work pretty well for themselves. But we are going to jump back onto the battle for P2. Gap to Ellis and Ozzy has jumped a long way. I thought it did. So Ellis didn't have a particularly great in-lap. Maybe the tyres just pushed over that cliff. And it's towing battle again. We've got the back marker getting in the way of Lane, making too much of an impact overall on the race between these two. So we will keep an eye on this. Obviously, Roberts is battling Ellis for the championship. There's a little bit of a gap between these two in the standings, but if Ellis does fall behind Roberts, that will be useful for their championship bid. So we'll have a quick look. See where we've got some interesting gaps. So Gabino and Sir Fontaine are pretty close to each other. A couple of second gap between Ostel and Hedemer. And Duffy is still fairly comfortably away from Snee. Just got Miguel there as company across class. Ola and Tournier were quite close. Gap thing has come out a little bit. But this is a battle I'm quite interested in, because of course the Lexus outbrakes itself slightly. It's got the 401 Ferrari, I think, is what's behind it. that's not very useful for them, because that's putting a little bit of unrequired pressure. But that McLaren is starting to come up to temperature now, and I think we'll possibly be able to ease away from the number one. We're jumping back to the top three, and again Roberts seeing what they can do about Ellis. I did say at the start of this that the McLarens are going to be strong here. Ellis has put up a valiant fight in that Lamborghini though. Definitely the dark horse car in my opinion. I wouldn't have expected it to be that strong here. Let's quick look at the timing board. So best lap so far is a 2:16.9. Lap times are again still in that kind of 2:16, 2:17 range. Top of the pros. For interest, let's have a look at Duffy. Lap times more close to the 2:18, 2:19 range. Diamond is not closing in on Thompson. Ola is staying with Tunier, so this is going to be another interesting battle as well. So if Ola can stay away from that Ferrari, which they should do quite comfortably, I think there could be a chance here of a battle between the Lexus and the McLaren. There's Lane, who we saw earlier getting out of the way for leaders. Will they do as good a job of it this time? Oh, and Lane has had a crash there. Oh, backwards at the exit. The Lamborghini is a bit of a tricky car to drive. Just see a little bit of car park. Oh, as we see the battle there. So, round the outside. Can the Lexus make it work? Not quite. They weren't able to kind of pinch the McLaren down onto the apex and kind of gain the momentum that way. They still will get a bit of momentum bonus, but I think there's a really good chance here for the Lexus. Oh, big slide from both cars. Lexus having to cut across the inside. They're going to keep their foot in it though, and that Lexus is mighty in a straight line. Of course, the car with the most amount of ballast out to make it competitive against the McLaren, which has got a little bit of ballast in. Is he going to send it down the inside? No, he's going to hope that Tunier maybe outbroke themselves, but that McLaren nicely poised through the chicane of Lacombe, now through Malmedy. This is going to probably favour the McLaren again. Mid-engined, high downforce car, it really is just a great platform for this sort of track. The Lexus is being driven excellently though by Ola, really is making it work despite the elderly machinery, let's say. The gap between Ellis and Roberts has jumped out to 2 seconds. I think there's been a small mistake from Ellis, so we're going to stay on board with this battle. Although the gap between the Gabino's Fontina's got pretty close as well as we head up towards the straight, so we're going to stick on this as well. So Fontaine's got damage on the back of that car, which may be why they are getting a little bit closer than you'd expect. Good battle here in the AM class. Is coming back out, so we are going to jump over to these guys again. Looks like Ola's had a bit of a poor lap, got really close, possibly got a bit too excited in the moment, has lost the momentum that they'd gained. But if they can just focus on where their car is strong, they've got half a chance of being able to make another attack. It would be great to see that Lexus kind of pushing forwards. We've got Miguel and Duffy fighting. Obviously there is an overall standings at the end of the race, and it's always great to get one over someone, but these guys are in different classes. And Miguel so far has been my driver of the day, obviously unless they're involved in any incidents, but I'm hoping they're not, because they started right at the back. And they've driven all the way forward to 8th position, so this has been a great run from them. Duffy obviously looking great in the lead, Snee is 10 seconds behind, so that should be a fairly comfortable gap. 4 seconds between Snee and Hay as well, so that's all settling down a little bit. We have 2 out of our 3 podium starting positions between Duffy and Hay. Obviously we lost our pole sitter right at the start of the, well, not at the start, but kind of not that far into the race, and they have actually retired the BMW, so obviously terminal damage on that BMW for Tidman, which was a shame. The 996 car was running well at the start, but has actually had to back out of this. Lane has now made their pit stop, the last person to pit for tyres and fuel. Rushton is back into the pits 3 laps down, and we did say that Aston wasn't looking particularly comfortable to drive. So Ola and Tournay back down to half a second. This is the most competitive battle we have out on track at the moment, so we're going to stick on board with this as we head towards Stavilo 2. Of course, the Lexus with the mighty V8 power plant, naturally aspirated. Should give a massive punch in the air. Obviously he's going to be taking a little bit of slipstream, but the gap is 8/10 as they got through sector 2, so that we're going to need a so heading up towards Rouge and Rayon again. A better run this time from the Lexus compared to the last time. I don't think they're going to be close enough again. They've got to stay in that slipstream though until the last possible second. You need to dive out, make a committed move. Here he goes. Oh, and there's contact! He went too far on the brakes. He's going to have to give that position back. He does the right thing. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Luckily it was side-to-side contact and no one spun. A flash of lights. I don't know if that was a flash of saying sorry or if that was a flash of annoyance. But an acknowledgement of something there. And we'll have to see if that has caused any lasting damage to either of these 2 cars. 13 minutes left. As you see the sun getting low, it starts to affect the drivers a little bit. A little bit of a slide on entrance there for the Lexus. And the number 14 there of Tournay doing a great job in the Sky car. Certainly is trying their best to run away as much as possible. Oh, and the Lexus is off. Oh, that is an unfortunate mistake. Just probably snagged a brake on entry. And that's really going to cost them. So I think that's that battle done for now. We'll see if they manage to get back on top of things. But we'll have a little run through the field. So we have Ozier after 20 laps comfortably away in the lead. 10 seconds back down to our championship leader Ellis, who's now 3.9 seconds away from Roberts. So after those tyres came in, able to pull away and be comfortable. Thompson with a strong 4th, keeping Roberts honest at 3.5 seconds but not really threatening. Diamond likewise in the 888 car, probably had a chance at a podium earlier on but burnt out those tyres. Now has the worst tyres of this leading 5. So it's definitely not going to be likely to be pushing forward. We'll just try and consolidate 5th. Tournay had a potential incident earlier on in the race as part of that start line crash. So we'll have to find out later on if there's any stewards inquiries. But so far, 6th position and looking strong. Then we have Ola, who we just saw make that mistake down at Stavilo. Miguel, who in my opinion is still driver of the race. managed to get through all of that carnage earlier on unscathed in the number 20 car. Then we have Duffy in the 44 as our AM class leader. Has had a pretty quiet race, to be fair. No real incidents that we've seen. Had a little bit of a scrap with the 399 when there was some lapping. Looked like there was a little bit of a misunderstanding at points, but nothing particularly complicated for them to handle this time. Just got to get it home. The 740 of Snee has done a great quiet job as well, up into the podium positions. Great strategy. I think this is our strategy driver of the day. Best strategy seen. Then we have Hay in the 21. A little bit outfoxed on strategy, which was unfortunate. Got caught up in some battles with, which I think is their teammate, in the number 19. Austell has had an incredibly quiet race, and I do apologise. I think we've spent about 30 seconds in total on their entire race, but has done a quietly great job in the 12th position in the 227. One of the cars that I'm pretty sure made it through the melee, kind of whilst being in the middle of it, incredibly unscathed. The number 19 we've talked about a little bit. Obviously picked up some damage early on. You can still see that damage, so it wasn't repaired at the stop. It's probably been costing them about half a second to a second a lap. We have Apostle in the 68, another quiet performance in the mid-pack of the grid. We have the 46 going through Stavilo 1, another slightly quiet afternoon. McNamee hasn't really had to do too much that we've seen. Another driver I think benefited early on from the melee. The 215 of Sir Fontaine is one of those cars that has just kind of quietly got on with it. We saw there was some damage on that car earlier on, and has been basically in a battle with Giovinazzo the entire race, I'm pretty sure. Oh, and a lock up there from the 215. So this battle might not be over with yet. We'll come back to this in a minute once we've done the rundown. The number 76 of Quigley, looking pretty comfortable out there in the P18. Nothing really too close to them, but not really going to be making any inroads forwards. We saw this car have an incident early on that dropped it down the order. Then we have the number 84, the 401, who had the stop-go penalty. The 81 we saw had quite significant front-end damage, got caught up in the melee. Same with Kaitos in the number 4. Donkin was multiple laps down, had a couple of pit stops. Same with Lane, Bowler, and Rushton is 7 laps down, having parked it with a terminal failure. So we are going to just have a look. So the closest two gaps currently are Gabino and Safontin, and Ola and Tournier. So Tournier seems to be dropping back into the clutches of the Lexus again, so we'll keep an eye on this. There's only about 4 laps left in the race though, so they're going to have to get a wriggle on if they're going to make a move here, as we see a drive through for the 81. So their day goes from bad to worse. They will drop behind Kaitos, and a lock up on the way in as well, just for more funs and games. Anyway, at the front, Ozier has just quietly pulled away. Gaps up to 11 seconds. Ellis in P2. Then we have Roberts comfortably in P3. Dropping back from Ellis now. Thompson still kept Roberts nice and honest all race. Diamond dropping back as we expected with those older tyres, just never really being able to get on terms with Thompson in the second stint. So yeah, still doing a good job in 6th, and we'll go jump back on board with the Lexus to see if he can close in any further. And we'll also quickly have a look at the Gabino-Safontin fight. Which again, seems to be pretty evenly matched, these two. They've been racing each other all night. It'll be interesting to see if who can prevail. I think there's a little bit of damage on the 215 of Safontin, and that's helping keep the 230 closer than maybe they'd want, given this stage of the race. We'll have another quick check. And 81 has cleared its drive-through. Good sector for... no, bad sector for Ola. Those tyres maybe being past their best now. Not still pretty close. Oh, a big slide from McLaren there. Big slide through No Name. Again, the front end of that McLaren looking a little bit unhappy. Definitely could do with a new set of boots if they were going to come back in. We chased by the couple of laps down Porsche. Get through Stabilo 2. All about extending that corner out as far as you can, but not actually getting over the entire curve and invalidating your lap. So you see Diamond heading up towards Ullacoombe in the green and fluoro yellow BMW. Certainly the car which had the most aggressive start to the race. Obviously came in first, had the lightest fuel load, but burnt those tyres out and never was able to quite get ahead. I think if they'd been able to get Roberts early on in the race and built a bit of a gap, they might have had half a chance here. They obviously are now 11 seconds behind Roberts, so it would have had to require, you know, a good chance to just get away, and maybe would have needed to be done in the first couple of laps. But in this second half of the race, that BMW really hasn't been much of a factor for the podium fight. Roberts has done, as I said before, quite a great job. Never really threatened for the top spots, top two spots, but has made their strategy work to have a comfortable P3. Thompson has done a great job in P4. I'm just going to keep an eye on that gap between these two. Oh no, the gap's up to 2.4 seconds. There was a lapped car there as well, which was the Lamborghini, I think, not that one, the 84 Lamborghini of Freebay. So there are, I believe, 2 laps left of the race, so we're going to jump on board with our race leader, who is just coming out of Radion down the Camel Straight. And we'll be counting down the number of times they have to go through a rouge.
The window is now closed.
The window is now closed, but luckily everyone's already done their pit stops, except for me, the commentator. But this has been an all-round class drive from the 117. Has looked comfortable since the start. And it's just kept their nose clean. Had a little bit of a battle with Ellis at the very start of the race. But very much a case of once they got their head in the game, it was fairly comfortable for them to start pulling away. Little wiggle there. Tyres, of course, obviously a little bit past their best now. And with the fuel load coming down, it can get a little bit more spicy in that McLaren. Nope. Gabino and yeah, that gap is still only about 0.6 of a second, but neither of these two are in a position yet to really be starting to make a battle of it. Just 215 saying just out of reach.
Leaders on final lap now.
Leaders on the final lap. Let's just see if this gap's got any closer. No, that's staying about the same. So we will follow our leader around for the final lap. And then we'll be able to do a wrap-up of the race. Safely through Rouge, Radion and Lacombe. Malmedy is another one that you can have a Malmedy at. Look, gets the car nicely squared up. Car looking nicely balanced. And this final time through No Name Corner. And down towards Pujon for the final time. Just going to be taking it comfortably. Got an 11-second lead, no need to push. Pole, the win, and the fastest lap. It's looking very likely now. One last time through Stavolo 1. Through Stavolo 2, keep it off the dirty grey stuff outside of the curbs. Through Blanchimont last time, and it should be beautifully smooth over the bust up chicane. Powering out the final corner, and it's going to be victory for Ozier in the 117 McLaren. A truly dominant race performance. Ellis, valiant fight, extends their lead in the championship overall, and takes a well-deserved P2 in the Lamborghini. Roberts a strong P3 podium. Oh, as we have missed that Duffy has had an incident. I do apologise. Oh, as we see the 76. Absolute chaos going on here. What happened here? So Duffy managed to throw away the victory. And it's going to be Snee who's just ahead of... Hey, these two are fighting it out to the last. I do apologise that we've missed this bit of action. We were so busy talking about the leader. And we missed that our leader in AM has changed on the final couple of laps. Just quickly try and see when Duffy had that problem. I don't think there's going to be an actual fight. So there was a 3-minute lap for Duffy. Big pit stop near the end. Must have caught some damage. Didn't see anything for it. So it's going to be a win for the 740, who I think may actually have to take over the driver of the race here, because the number 20's disappeared as well. Anyway, a great win there for Snee. Kept in it. Hay with the P2. So we've got a last couple of cars coming through. Hedema, Postel, Seffelton and Gabino are going to be just about each other. McNamee is out of fuel. That is a gutting way to have to finish the race. They're going to need a push home. Anyone else left? I don't think anyone can actually take that away from them, so they will be P14, but we will have to wait for them to roll it back home. It's going to be P12 for Seffelton. P13 depends on the... Oh no, Gavino got him right at the end. All race these two have been battling, and we miss it right at the end, looking at a car that was out of fuel. But great battle between those two all race. And the Lamborghini is out of fuel. That is our race finish. Thank you very much for watching. I'm just going to check that we've got all the race finishes there. I believe we do have almost all of them. A couple have dropped out, And as we said, our race winner overall and in the Pro class is Ozir, and our race winner in AM class in P7 overall is Snee in the 740 BMW. Thank you very much for tuning in. Next week the championship moves on, and they move on to Valencia, and then there'll be the finale at round 10 at Donington. Race next weekend, 60-minute race starting at this time. We'll find out who will be our streamer next week, but please tune in to everyone who's streaming for the Sim Racing Club here on YouTube or Twitch. I've been Plux the Duck, and thank you very much for listening. Until the next one, thank you very much and have a great weekend.